Hi, welcome back to Hometown Highlights. I'm Sarah DeRise with Keller Williams Realty. Today I'm here with Jeff Schleifhoff. Did I do it right? Schleifhoff.
Schleifhoff. You hit it. There you go.
Jeff Schleifhoff at Balanced Martial Arts. I've been coming here for 6 years, and I'm just learning how to say that properly, so it's okay. So Jeff, tell us about yourself. Where are you from? What's your sign?
So I actually grew up pretty local.
Okay.
I grew up right in the border of Eastchester and Scarsdale. I basically lived in Westchester County for all but 1 year of my life.
Okay.
And
during that 1 year, where did you live?
I was up in Rockland for a year. Like, graduated from college, started the business, couldn't really afford rent. So I had a sister, though, who offered free rent. So that was a great opportunity.
Yes, absolutely. Take that.
Lived up in Rockland, like almost in the border of Orange County for a year.
Now, how did you get started in martial arts in general?
So in general, it was one of those things of like, from the time I was 5, I was like, that looks cool on TV. You know, like I watched Chuck Norris and Bruce Lee and stuff like that. But I think the big kind of change for me was a school opened like down the block from my house. And I was 12 at the time. And my parents were like, yeah, we'll let you walk that far. When it became the kind of thing that my brother and I could walk a block and a half, it was easy to get started. And once we got started, kind of never stopped.
That's fantastic. What level belt are you now?
So I have like multiple black belts in different systems.
Okay.
So kind of a little bit tricky, but like my highest in any of the individual systems is 3rd degree. But martial arts.
When you say individual systems, do you mean the different types of martial arts?
Yeah,
correct?
like yeah. So like there's lots of different styles of martial arts, and we actually teach a blended system where we pull from different things. So like there are a lot of varieties. Our system is designed to be pretty well-rounded and be self-defense oriented as compared to like go win a trophy or go fight in a cage, which, you know, there's something to that, but just not what we do.
Right. We're not sending kids to competitions here for, you know, Karate Kid style type stuff.
Yeah, the All Valley tournament is not going to have us this year. It's too bad.
Now, within those different systems that you have practiced, what is your favorite weapon to practice?
Favorite weapon? I like bow staff and a scream stick are my 2 favorites because they're like relatively practical weapons in terms of like, again, I mentioned that I'm a little bit more interested in like self-defense as compared to just being like good for a tournament or something like that. And those are 2 things that like you could be in your house and you could pick up a broomstick or you could pick up a baseball bat and it's essentially the same weapon. Like it's highly unlikely that you just randomly have a sword lying around your house.
That's true.
Right? Like, and if you do, cool, you know, but like,
maybe a big knife could count. I don't know.
Yeah. Like, but again, keep that away from your kids.
Right. Not a good idea.
Yeah.
Tell us about the program here at Balanced.
But we're really big into kind of the self-mastery side of martial arts. You know, traditionally in martial arts, it goes beyond just like, can I kick you in the head? Which, you know, is fun sometimes, but rude for most situations. But like, are you learning about how to master your emotions, stay calm under pressure, right? Stay focused and kind of keep driven towards your objective instead of getting distracted by things that you want right now, but not necessarily what you want most.
Because there's always a character component to the instruction, which is a part of all martial arts generally, in understanding who you are as a person and how you utilize that through your practice.
We want to teach the character concepts through the medium of martial arts, more so than I want you to be like someone who's going to go to a tournament, win me a trophy. Again, it's great if my students are really athletic and developed and things like that, but I want them to be really well-rounded people and be successful.
Right. Well, exactly, because more kids are going to come out of here having and take that character piece away than they are going to come out of here and become senseis or competitive martial artists.
Yeah, like people ask me like, how many times have I had to defend myself and use martial arts? And it's like, there have been a couple times I've had to extricate myself from situations, right? But that's like, you know, it happens once a decade, right?
Right.
and even less so as you get older, right? But how often do you deal with the other things that martial arts should teach you and prepare you for? Like 14 times an hour.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
You know,
one of my favorite pieces of your program is the anti-bullying piece that you do. Is that once a year or twice a year?
so we do it with everybody
that?
once a year. And then there are some special events where we do it. So sometimes we have a course like heading into the summer.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it's really valuable for kids to go through that module when they're preparing to meet new people, or they've just met new people.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's really when bullying can kind of take hold. Is like, I've never met you before, so I'm probably going to pick on you and find out what happens, right?
Right.
And if you're prepared for that, then you have to deal with it for 2 weeks, a month, or whatever, and then it's done. You never have to worry
Mm-hmm.
about it again.
It's great because the kids really kind of role play it out
Mm-hmm.
in a silly, ridiculous way. So, but
Yeah.
then they can see it on the other side. I've seen where they recognize it from the other end, and they know what to do, which is great.
Yeah.
It's not just don't be a bully and treat kids nicely. They're really playing out situations.
I think one of the pitfalls I think that we run into with kids is we tell them what not to do a lot of the time, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
don't hit your sister. They shouldn't hit their sister, but it's what should you do is what they're missing, right? Because very often those impulses to just get angry is because they don't have a good replacement behavior.
Right.
So if you can go through that role play of like, this is what you should do if someone's bothering you, instead of just hauling off or crying, then they're prepared, right? And like I said, it's easy to say don't do that, but the real trick is telling them what they should do.
What's your favorite part about working with the kids?
Favorite part about working with kids? That I can pick them up? No, I mean...
My dad's a gym teacher. He says that too.
So for me, the great thing about working with kids is that they're relatively blank slates. They're more readily like, yeah, I can do that. I can become anything,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because they're just a ball of potential, right? And if you can get to them early and get them directed in a good way, it's fun to see that play out. And I think one of my favorite things about being a martial arts teacher as compared to like a regular school teacher is that I see that play out for decades sometimes, right? Like this time of year is one of my favorite times of year because I have kids who come back to visit me,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like, and I mean, I had one just last week who was back to visit. Haven't seen him in a couple of years, and he's telling me about his life story. And it's like the whole thing is we want to see them grow up, and it's relatively unique to dealing with kids as compared to like the adults. Like some things change, but not as rapidly, not as not as interesting, the stories.
Absolutely. It's really fun to see that, and to see the people who stay local and are dedicated to it as students and then become teachers. Must be a really rewarding piece of that as well.
Yeah, I mean that's like the exceptional outcome,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like some people stick around and they're like furniture a little bit. And those are great long-term relationships. Obviously the exception, not the rule. Not 100% of my students become like staff here at one point.
No, of course not.
But but with that being said, yeah, when that happens, it's good stuff.
Right. Absolutely. So the last couple of years have been challenging for everybody, but especially when it comes to kids and when it comes to, in person, in a place where you're literally hand to hand with people. How did you guys deal with that?
You're giving me, I'm reliving the nightmares, right?
Gives, yes.
Yeah. So learning how to teach in those new mediums was difficult, but beyond that, what they needed was different too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because all the things that kids were going through, like all the emotional kind of damage, collateral damage from what they had to do to avoid COVID things.
Mm-hmm. Which we're still seeing play out.
Yeah, we're still seeing play out.
Right.
It was definitely, it required us to change some of the things that we had to do with them, mm-hmm. right? In terms of, like, there were kids who were just afraid to be touched by people, mm-hmm. right? And the idea of like someone touching them was very upsetting, right? And that was, I mean, there's always been some kids who are like that. There are some people who are like that.
Or
but
even coming into a room full of people or, right.
Yeah, there was just a lot of generalized anxiety, and trying to be a positive influence in that environment, being a little bit more effusive in our praise of students to try and give them a sense of accomplishment and growth during a difficult time, mm-hmm. was was one of the many adjustments that we had to make.
Right. Okay, so my last question, we always like to shout out to other local businesses. So what's your favorite local spot? Be anywhere.
Anywhere. Our friends at Zuccarelli's on White Plains Road in Eastchester. They take care of our team for lunch all the time.
Yes.
Joe and Joey and all the John and all.
Favorite
Favorite sandwich? That's a tough one.
We're fans of the Joey special. The vodka sauce.
The Joe special is delightful.
Yes.
Yes. I try not to get the same thing for lunch every day.
Right. No, that's fair.
Right.
That's fair. Definitely one of the best delis in town, though.
Absolutely.
I can attest to that. Thank you, Jeff. It was a pleasure.
Okay.
And we look forward to seeing you again very soon.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Thank you.